Hello, my name is Zoe. I am the Tipsy Psychic. I'm filming this right after my last video, so forgive me. I'm still sunburned and I am still naked. Hopefully I can put some clothes on soon, but it hurts so much. Today I'm going to talk about the compatibility between a Pisces Aries Cusp and a Gemini. This is not a spiritual relationship. It's very lighthearted. Before you really decide to commit and you decide to go for it, you need to ask yourself if you're really ready to take your relationship to the next level, if you're really ready to commit. You really want to do this? How much are you willing to sacrifice in order to make this work? Because you might have to explore some parts of yourself that you're just not ready to explore with them. Your Gemini might tire you out. You might get home after a date with them and you might just feel exhausted and drained. You have a very down-to-earth way of going about things. You both understand and appreciate hard work and having nice things that you earn. If things feel too serious and you're asking too much of each other, or there are a lot of expectations, then it will only put pressure on you as a couple and it will only make things worse. So you have to chill out, you have to keep things laid back and not ask too much of them. This bond you have, this relationship, is so real. You really have to focus on the world around you. Don't look for answers in a higher power or look to the universe or the law of attraction here. You're really going to have to focus on the present. Don't leave it up to fate to guide your relationship. Whenever you make a decision, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to them. Treat others like you want to be treated, right? You need to put yourself in their shoes. If you are treating them a certain way, make sure that it's the same way that you would like to be treated. Don't be hypocritical. Trust is going to be so essential, and you need to make sure that there are no lies. You have a lot of layers, and a Gemini would love that about you. This relationship has a very sexy vibe. You have to feel like there's enough liberty and openness, because the more you try to be a traditional couple, the more you feel like you're on a leash and you'll feel trapped. So you have to be able to roam and make your own decision and not feel pressured by your love life. If you're going for it with your Gemini, you just have to make that decision to start. You have to define what you want out of this and just go for it. Keep your head on your shoulders and don't get too carried away. You might have to be a little bit more mature about your decisions if you want things to last. You might have to start taking on the role of the adult. You would make really good friends. As friends, you often share the same interests for gadgets and like tech. Sometimes you'll meet in the tech industry or your coworkers for a tech business or something like that. A lot of the time when you're friends, you treat each other like siblings, like family. You might even refer to each other as sister or brother. It might become very tempting to just ask a lot of them, but you're going to have to rely more on yourself when it comes to serious moments in the relationship. Dating a Gemini can be really awesome for you. In the beginning of your relationship, you'll have a lot of intellectual discussions, and you bond over your conversations and your thoughts. Some great date ideas would be to have a picnic or try watching the fireworks together or go hiking or go to the park. Make sure that you're making the most of the time that you have now with your Gemini. Don't get too carried away about what's going to happen or what you want to happen or where you want the relationship to be. Just try to enjoy the now, stay grounded. When you're trying to keep everything so chill and laid back, and you're trying not to be too serious and attached, then sometimes you can just kind of detach yourself. It just happens, and you can stop texting them a lot and you kind of lose touch with each other in a way. So you have to be careful to still have that balance. You have to still text them, you have to still be in touch with them, but it doesn't mean that you have to be super serious all the time. Communication is still going to be really important. Don't distance yourself from them. Don't make it seem like you're distancing yourself from them. You'll definitely feel like more of the rock compared to your Gemini. You'll be the stable one. Like, you'll cause the security in the relationship. Don't count on them for that. When your relationship is going smoothly, you don't really focus a lot on the things that you could be working on. And things are working so independently of one another that you stop kind of doing the inner work. You stop self-discovery. And if you're not doing that inner work, if you're not growing and working on things and improving on things, then it's just not going to go your way. When you're on your own and you're not like with each other, you're both extremely impulsive and unpredictable. And sometimes to a fault. But when you're together, those traits cancel each other out. So all you have left is this down-to-earth side, which is actually a really, really good thing. It might be really good for you both to work on a project together, to get to know each other and to work on things. Especially if you want to take things to the next level. Because if you feel stuck, then it's really going to help to have that as an opportunity for growth and to kind of be unstuck. You can be a little stubborn sometimes, so doing something that your Gemini really likes to do that you normally wouldn't do might really help this relationship blossom. And you never know, you might really enjoy it. Make sure you realize how special your love is. You may not realize how much you actually have until you lose it. So wake up now and realize it. You have a very special, unique connection with your Gemini. A Gemini might be more silly than you. They'll make you feel like the more mature one. You might have to get to a really low point before you realize how special things are and how much you stand to lose when you're not with them. It might take getting into a really big fight or going through a really low point in your relationship to actually get better and actually realize how you can improve it and how you can grow. You need that wake-up call. So understand that things might get worse before they get better. You might only start to really understand your feelings for each other once you are in complete chaos with each other, like once everything is a mess. You know that together you have this wonderful compassion. And once you realize how much you share that you've never had with anyone else before, then it's gonna be really special. You would go the extra mile for each other. You both work so hard to keep your love alive and keep things going, and you'll take on the burden of your partner, of your Gemini, and they'll take on your burden if they need to keep things going and to protect what you have. You will stop at nothing to keep the spark alive. You won't give up on it. You will happily carry their workload if they are having a difficult time doing it, just to make them happy or protect what you both have. Sometimes that might mean that you have to take turns really showing your love. Gemini is really good with technology and gadgets. And even if that's not something you were always interested in, they're probably going to convert you in some way. Like, if they are Mac people, then, and you're like, you've always had a PC, they might convert you into a Mac person. You know what I mean? Like, if you are into Android phones and they're into the iPhone, they might, you know, make you feel like, oh, I should go with an iPhone. So in that way, they're very influential on you. You have to be able to be very open and just tell each other the truth, always. Prioritize honesty. When it comes to your love life, it can seem all over the place at first. It can seem messy. You both have to be able to accept that your match is an intellectual match. You bond over your like intellectual nature, your mind, the way you communicate with each other. It's just how you are linked. And it's not about finding like destiny with each other or being soulmates. It's about what makes sense. Like, it just makes sense for you to be together. And if you can come to terms with that and you can accept that, then your relationship is much more successful. Like, it's just going to be much more of a long-term success. But if you're searching for something, a more spiritual side, a more deep side that just isn't there, then you're not going to get anywhere. You both have this unspoken agreement to just be there for each other. You both are very quick thinkers. You learn very quickly. You kind of just know how to talk to each other and how to be open. And if you want to communicate, you're going to have to be very open, very straightforward about how you're feeling. This is going to be very important, like very important. You would be so amused by a Gemini. As a married couple, you would struggle a lot because your Gemini doesn't understand like how much you need to be appreciated. They don't understand why it's really important for you to be on the same page with them and be on the same level mentally. You would be very charmed by a Gemini. You would get swept off your feet. They're so much fun. A Gemini is a great partner to run an idea by. If you're like writing a novel, they're going to be great people to read the novel and give you really constructive, awesome feedback. They're going to be supportive and non-judgmental in that way, and they're still going to be very helpful. So they're that kind of partner. They're not easily swayed or influenced when it comes to your ideas. They have very strong opinions, and their opinions are very valuable. So they're going to be very good partners when it comes to opening up and talking about how they truly feel, what they truly think about something. The more committed you are to each other, the more you'll feel kind of like you're both straying. Bear with me. It will become more and more difficult to not check other people out. So if you see your Gemini checking someone else out or looking at them or admiring them in any way, like even if they're not acting on it, don't be surprised. You might feel temptation, you might feel attracted to other people. The only way you're going to get through that is if you're super open about it. You'd be surprised at how accepting they are, but you have to be very open from the beginning, like you both do. You need to be able to talk about it without being upset or jealous. In fact, sometimes this couple really makes it work. Like they're able to just admire other people together. It doesn't necessarily mean that they cheat, but they understand that like it's okay to like check other people out and admire other people. And if you can't work that out, jealousy can be a huge problem here. It can destroy your relationship. Jealousy is like very important to just get rid of right away. Don't let it take over. Don't let it, just make sure you're being completely accepting and non-judgmental. It doesn't mean that you love each other any less. You both need to understand that you're both human. It's natural for you to have tendencies to think about other people from time to time. In fact, it can be very healthy. And if you want this to work, you're gonna have to be able to work with that. Especially when you're in a really long-term relationship. You would have a blast with your Gemini. Geminis have a way of staying focused that you just really admire, but it's something that you never really have. And you make an excellent team when it comes to fulfilling your dreams and making things happen and being successful. Your Gemini would be so much fun, but they may not always take the time to understand you. And that can be really frustrating to you. But what frustrates you even more than that is that you know that they're capable of understanding you. And that's the thing. It's not just that they don't try to understand you, it's that you actually know that they could if they really tried, but they just don't get to that level. It's like they just choose not to or act like they don't care as much. And that gets to you. Sex is super important for this relationship to blossom, but make sure sex doesn't become the main attraction. You're just there to have a good time. Keep things lighthearted. And then there's so much room for success. Cuddling is a big thing here. You love cuddling, you're very physical together, like touchy-feely. Even as friends, you can be very touchy-feely. You might like to hug it out. And there's never really a question about it. You don't really take it too seriously. So, this is a really crazy relationship. It can definitely work, but hopefully I've given you some tips and explained it a little more. If you are born on the cusp of Pisces and Aries, or you are a Gemini, please comment below. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear more about your relationship, or whether you know each other, whether you're interested in each other, or you're like repulsed by each other. I just want to know in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and stay tuned. Thanks so much.